iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.
So she's this spunky, determined, resilient gal from Philadelphia who shows up in New York City, and she has no friends and no family and knows who she is and knows what she's here to do on the planet, but really just has a big old dream in front of her and has to go about making that come true.
So I play this guy, Jimmy Doyle, once played by Robert De Niro. I never like to leave that out. It's good company. It's just, someone who's doing all right for themselves. Who's very much a hero of mine. I play this guy, Jimmy Doyle, and he is an aspiring jazz musician who lives and was a native New Yorker. And he's just kind of, he's got a lot of love. He's looking for a lot of love. He's got a couple demons that you'll see. And he kind of finds his way by the end.
The show is set in 1946, coming out of World War II, and we are coming out of a pandemic, and we've seen a lot of horrors, and so it's a time of possibility, I think, more than anything.
I think that's the main thing. We've all been through a lot of stuff, and also we're in a very disgustingly negative political world at the moment, and I think the show, if anything, gives us the possibility that things can work out.
Well, as a director, working with this particular company is a gift, if you will. I work on the show with my collaborators around the table, and we all sing it, and we all say the lines, but now to have it in the mouths of these incredible performers, I feel like Colton Ryan and Anna Uzelli were born to play these parts. And I feel that people are going to discover two stars after they see this show. But even the ensemble, you'll be able to follow characters through the night with the ensemble. They're all triple threats. So the energy coming off of that stage with this show, it's fantastic.
Well, I first joined the project in the spring of 2022. And at that point in time, in this industry, you just enjoy every moment because you have no idea what could happen next. And this was just for a workshop. So I said to myself, great, let's have the time of our lives because I don't know if I'll ever get this experience again. And now here we are.
Well, it's actually an email. And for that reason, it's a little more like, and it's a script, and I start, and there's a title page, and you go down, and he says to people, he says, directed by Susan Stroman. Okay. Wow. Okay. Heavy hitter. Music and lyrics by, John Kenner, Fred Ahead. Oh. And then it says, additional lyrics by Lin-Manuel. Wait, it's like, so I was pretty gobsmacked. I kind of kept hitting my fiance as I was reading this thing along. I couldn't believe it.
What's the collaboration process?
Actually, we've written 3 songs together, or is there 3? Anyway, we get in a room together. It's almost exactly as it was with Fred M.
Yeah.
It's true. We get in a room together and say we're going to write a song, and then we do.
Yeah.
In very short time.
I have to say, I've never written faster than trying to keep up with John Kander, just to try to make my lyrics as fast as his fingers are on the keys.
It's the fact that, and it was the same with Freddie, you know what it is that you want to say, you know the characters that you want to write for, and you sort of put yourself into their heads, musically and lyrically, and then you do it. And maybe it's really crappy. And if it is, you tear it up and do it again. But it's not hard. I have this feeling with people who complain about, oh God, I work so hard. If you put your fingers on the keyboard, they will do something. You just let them do it.
Well, I always do a lot of research, and the research of this time and the characters that you might see in New York City. So it is auditioning these folks and seeing everything they can do. Everyone who made it can do it all. And now during rehearsal, it's applying these characters. So the whole evening is about that and about the different flavors and the cultures of New York City, too. Because this is the greatest city in the world because of that. And so that you will see represented on the stage. And there's an accessibility, someone in the audience will look up and see someone on that stage that they can relate to.
They're legends. They've been doing this for 1,000 years, and they are entrusting a 27-year-old who's only been here for 5 years to bring this character to the stage. And so it speaks to how much they are really wanting to champion young artists. And I don't take that lightly. I don't.
A lot of the sound of this city has come from the minds of John and Freddie. I think we all feel like it's only a love letter to the city, but it's a It's not only a love letter to the city, but it is a love letter to the two of them and all they've done to give this city a sound and a beat.
This show is a Valentine to New York City. There is no greater city in the world.
I play Jesse Webb. He's a World War II vet. He's coming to the big city to get a job playing his music. However, it's the 40s, so that's kind of hard. Someone who looks like me to be able to play at the Waldorf or like the big places. So really, he just has very simple dreams and is just here like everyone else trying to make a better version of themselves.
Alex is a Polish immigrant. He's 17 years old. He came from Warsaw, Poland, right at the beginning of World War II and escaped. But he's alone, without any family, without anyone to support him in the city. But he finds solace in a violin virtuoso named Madame Veltri, who's played by the magnificent Emily Skinner. And he finds his way through the city through music and through building a relationship with Madame Veltri.
I play Sofia Diaz. She and Mateo have just arrived from Cuba, and we see little glimpses of what their fight is like in the city coming as immigrants.
I play Mateo Diaz, who is a passionate musician, representing also queer community, and he just wants to make it in New York and wants to make sure that he gives not only himself a jump start in life, but also his family.
So my character is named Gordon Kendrick. He's a British producer that's come over from London, kind of to recreate himself and to reinvent himself here. He falls in love both probably with Francine's talent and her beauty and everything. But maybe needed some therapy along the way, and because he didn't get that, doesn't quite handle himself well in some moments. But he tries to throw a wrench in the love story.
Yeah, I play Tommy Caggiano, who's New York through and through, born and raised in New York, a little bit off the street. Grew up with the lead character Jimmy Doyle's family, and he's trying to make good in life, not just for himself, but for everybody else around him. So he's a little bit of a caretaker, and he's Italian American.
New York is a love letter to the city, to the greatest city in the world. And we follow several different stories. The center of the story is the story of a young singer and a young musician who are just coming to the city to find their way. But we also feature several different stories, maybe a dozen or more, that we follow over the course of the evening. And everyone's there for the same reason, to do something they couldn't do someplace else.
New York is a city of stories, and we're trying to represent as many of those stories as we possibly can get on that stage, because I feel like that's what's unique about New York, is that we're so close together that you're standing next to a story. You look at some people sometimes on the subway and you just think, wow, what's their story? What's your story? What's my story? So I think it's a way to say we're a village. We're a city of neighborhoods, and we're a city of stories.
I mean, the first thought was I'm working with legends, people I've studied in school and college, and I have looked up to them for a while. So it was just like, I'm living my dream, and it was just like a weird acceptance moment of like, okay, this is my life now.
I was shocked. It was very fast. This is my Broadway debut. It's my New York City debut. And it's, again, working with people who are legends in this industry, both from a music standpoint, from a theatrical standpoint. And I was incredibly excited to start working again.
For me, it was utter shock because it kind of came out of nowhere, and it's just thrilling it was a thrilling moment, and I feel like the most exciting part is always getting to share it with our loved ones. I had been away from the city for a while, and so to be able to come back to New York with New York is kind of iconic.
But it was the moment that I told my parents and my little sister that it made it real for me, seeing their excitement and their happiness. I knew that it wasn't just a dream of mine, but it was also carrying their dreams with me, and it was beautiful.
Can we say holy shit on this? I think that was kind of like the first thing is always. I mean, every time there's a job offer, like on Broadway especially, and then when you add on to that the whole creative team, there's just it's kind of a lightheaded feeling. Yeah, it's a lightheaded moment.
Yeah, and like you just said, it's a little bit like how we start our show, which is holy shit. I love this city. For me, it's been a while since I've done a theater piece and also just been on Broadway. So to come back with this one, with this story about New York City, it's overwhelmingly amazing.
Working with this cast is extraordinary because they bring such talent, such passion, such commitment. It's a very young cast, which makes it even more exciting because there's a lot of people who are having Broadway debuts. There's some people who are old pros, but all of us are in that room feeling like it's the first time we've ever done a show before, and that's exciting. That's really what this team is all about.
They are just an extraordinary company, and to watch them take ownership of what we wrote on the page and really make it their story. Every day they come in with something new and another level of discovery. I mean, they're making it sing, and that's so exciting. Like literally making it sing, which is so exciting. So I couldn't be happier.
Race, creed, religion, political opinion, doesn't matter. You can find it. You can absolutely find it. Even if you disagree with it and you hate it, you can find it. And there's a place for it in this city. And that allows people to be exactly who they're supposed to be. And that's not the case in many other places. So thank you, New York City.
It's not really it's not really words. It's just my home. It's just like, I grew up in Kentucky and I love it there to death. And they all know how much I love it. But they all know, they see it in my eyes, this is my home.
My favorite thing about being a New Yorker is that you can be anything.
As someone who really loves his neighborhood and married a kid from the neighborhood and stayed in the neighborhood, I love growing up with my neighborhood. I love seeing all the changes, good and bad and everything in between, and being a part of the landscape of the city.
My favorite thing of New York is the culture.
The amount of people here drives me to be my best.
A stranger is never really a stranger in this city, which is something that I love.
The people are what make this city so resilient, and the people of this city are resilient.
My favorite thing, it is the people and the diversity that you find in the city. You hear 15 different languages. We're just walking down the street, and that is something that you don't find.
Those moments where you're feeling, you got your headphones in, you're just walking around, and you feel like you own the city.
It's something different every time you leave your doorway.
There's nothing better than the food.
I think it's a city of hope.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.